Good evening, everyone. So we are going to start the discussion on approach for CSAT. So you might have appeared last year, this year also. So what do you feel? What difficulty you face in this CSAT paper? Just basic idea. You haven't prepared well, or you can say the basic concepts you're not very much aware of, or you did practice a lot. So these are the things we can have, like because of that, we could not clear this CSAT paper, correct? So we'll try to think what we can do. We can discuss about these things, what are different challenges we face, and what can be our overall approach. So in this discussion, what we are going to do, we can start with why CSAT paper is important. Then we can discuss about what is this CSAT paper about. Then we can discuss what can be our overall approach for this paper. Then we can discuss specifically for maths part or quantitative aptitude part, how we can prepare, how we can approach for this part in detail, correct? So this way we are going to approach our session, correct? So first thing and the foremost thing, what is the CSAT paper? You might be aware of, like this is paper 2. Which we call CSAT paper. How many marks are there for this? 200. How many questions are there for this paper? 80. And this CSAT paper is qualifying in nature. Qualifying. And what is the criteria for qualifying this paper? Like we have in the notification that it is 33% or 66 marks we need to score to cross the barrier. If we are not getting this minimum marks, then we cannot qualify prelims. We can fail in prelims. Even if you are getting like 126, in GS paper 1. So cutoff is decided on the basis of marks which we score in GS paper 1. But for that, we need to qualify this paper. Because of this criterion, we can say it is very important in this UPSC examination. So the next question is ki why students are failing in it? Why students are failing in it? Many of the students, they face problem because of this thing, the difficulty level has been increased a lot. If we see previous 5 years ka trend, so what we can see? So difficulty level is increased year by year. If we see the most difficult paper in the history of CSAT, we can say 2023. That was the most difficult paper. And why we say it, this was the most difficult paper in the history? Because of the nature of that paper, we can see permutation and combination. Like 7-8 questions were there in that paper. And after then, we have more than 20 questions on number system. And that too on difficult side. Because of which the paper was so difficult, students were frustrated about it. Why so difficult paper? So you might have seen many protests. And what was the demand? Like, what was the demand? Like 33%. This criteria must be lowered down to 23% or 22%. And the difficulty level must be decreased. But what UPSC did? No change. And UPSC is not going to change also. The way they are asking questions, the same way they will ask questions in the future also. So what we need to do? We need to prepare for the worst condition. What can be the worst condition? Ki more difficult paper as compared to 23 can come in 25. So for that we need to prepare. We need to see what are the basics, and the best part is what? We need to attempt how many questions? We are attempting questions just for getting this 66 marks criteria. So if we are attempting 27 questions, and all the questions are correct, that means we are going to qualify this paper. Can we see that? 27 questions we are attempting in the paper, and all the questions are correct, we can simply qualify the paper. This 27 out of 80. This looks, this is not difficult. Out of 80, just 27 questions. But we can see there is higher difficulty level. There are few questions which are meant to leave, which are meant to skip in the paper. If we are going to attempt those questions, it is like we are going to kill our time, we are going to kill our effort, and in the meantime we are going to feel that this paper is so difficult, I cannot clear the barrier. So we can get frustrated in the examination hall. So these things must not happen. For that, what we need to do? For that, we need to understand what is the nature of the paper. What is this CSAT paper all about? So CSAT paper mein what are different parts? Like different sections are there. Like we have maths part or quantitative aptitude part. Then we have reasoning part. Then we have RC part, reading comprehension. 3 parts are there for CSAT paper. And if you go through the syllabus, nothing much is written. Nothing much is written. So the next thing what we can do, we can go through the previous year paper. From there we can get this idea ki what different topics, what different type of questions they are asking. So from the study of, from the analysis of the previous year questions of CSAT, we can have that sense ki what different topics UPSC is asking in this paper. And total 80 questions. Some might say we are very good at maths. Some can say they are very good at reasoning. Some can say they are very good at RC. So if you are very good at RC, so can you clear this paper just by relying on this RC part? Why no? Because if we see the composition, if we see the number of questions which are asked in paper, like maths mein, what we see the trend, like 30 to 40 questions are asked. Then if we see this reasoning part, 10 to 15, or let's say roughly 15 questions are asked from reasoning part. Then 25 to 30 questions are asked from RC. Add many years, we can say it is like 25, 26, 27. Like if we are solely relying on this RC part, only 25 questions are there. And you need to secure 27 correct. If you are attempting 27 RC questions, can you be sure that all the questions are correct? We cannot be sure. So if you are relying on this part only, we cannot clear this paper. And nowhere it is written, like if you are relying on maths part, 30 to 40 questions are there. So we can attempt all the questions. Like 40 questions are there, we are attempting 40 questions. Out of which 3, 4, 5 are incorrect. Then also we can clear the cutoff. We can think of that way. But nowhere it is written in the notification of UPSC that this is going to be the composition. Nowhere it is written. Ki 1/3 part from maths, 1/3 from reasoning, 1/3 from RC. Or this way, ki 30 to 40 questions from maths, 15 questions from reasoning, and 30 questions from RC. Nowhere it is written. We can see this from the example of like GS paper. In GS paper also, we don't see this type of segregation. Like, what about modern Indian history? You might have seen last 2-3 years what is happening with modern Indian history. Like last year 2 questions, this year 1 question. That also like regulating acts they are asking question. So the polity teacher, they are saying ki this question is from polity. So, but earlier like they were asking 7, 8 question, 10 question also. The same way like geography and economy. Basic concepts UPSC was asking previously, but in between they stopped. They were asking only current affairs question. Then again they switched to basic questions, conceptual based questions. So we need to be prepared for the worst condition. Ki what happens, like from maths part, only 15 questions are asked. And this can happen. If this happens, no one can ask UPSC, what is this? Because nowhere it is written. UPSC is having all the rights to do so. So we need to focus all the 3 parts. We cannot have this idea ki maths only, reasoning only. Like 50 to 55 questions are coming from this maths and reasoning part. Only this I'm going to cover. RC I will not even touch. That is also not a very good strategy. And we have lots of time. Like 7-8 months are there. So we can see what is the nature of the paper, what kind of questions they are asking. So we can have our own strategy. What I'm telling Based on what? Based on the previous year question only. I have seen the previous year questions. I have also given the paper also. So based on that experience, I'm telling you ki these are the things. This way the question paper can vary. So we need to prepare for the worst. And you can also have your own strategy. In which part you are best, in which part you are worst. So that assessment you can have. And after then, accordingly, you can think of ki what I need to do, what things I need to practice more, what things I need to read more, what things I need to have like more clarity of the concept. So these things you can have on your own. Just go through the previous year papers, you can get that idea. If we see this reasoning part and RC part, so if we see ki what are different important topics, if we talk about this reasoning wala part, what do you think, what are the important topics from which UPSC is asking more questions? And like every year they are asking questions. So you can have like calendar. Every year calendar say they are asking questions. Then we have like cubes and dices. Then we have inequality. Then we have arrangement. Then we have clocks. Then we have logs. So these are the important topics on which UPSC is asking questions. So what we can do, we can see what are different previous year questions. Try to solve them on your own. If you are not having any idea, just try to solve them. And think of this, ki why I'm failing to get the answer. That means I'm not having that basic concept. So from where to get those basic concepts? Try to get those basic concepts. You can have like a peer group from where you can have some discussions, or you can join some classes from where you can get the clarity over these concepts, correct? So you are having that direction, you see what I need to do. You can have your own assessment. Do I need to join some classes? Do I need to prepare by my own like peer group or by your own studies, readings, correct? So this way you can strategize yourself. If we talk about this RC wala part, RC के लिए which topic? If I ask you which topic for RC it is important? RC में what we get? This is reading comprehension. So they are going to provide us a passage. On the basis of the information given in that passage, they can ask some questions. So if we are reading some passage, what information we need to have from that passage? Like first what we are trying to see, like what is the tone of writing? Positive, negative, what is the tone? And we read editorials also. In newspaper, we see ki what is the tone of the author, positive or negative. This way we can categorize that. Then that like criticizing some policies, some concepts, some technologies, or they are appreciating some policies, some steps, some technology. So this way we can have that idea ki what is the tone of the passage. Then we can have this idea ki what message the author want to convey if you are reading any article. be it editorial. So we can have that idea ki what message that author is trying to convey. Then we can have this thing ki they are providing some information. There is a tone in the message, in the passage. Then we can see ki what arguments the author is providing. Like author can talk about something, ki it is bad, it is good. If it is bad, what are the arguments the author is providing? One can be the main argument. Then what else we can have? Like main argument they are providing, the basic argument. Then they can provide some supporting argument. So these are the things which we are trying to get from the passage. Then we can get questions. Different tail words are there in the passages. Like they can ask about what is the crux of the passage? What are the implications? What are the assumptions? What writer wants to convey? So this way, different tail words we can see in the passage. So what are all these tail words? We can get from where? From UPSC previous year paper. So we can read, like you can get 22, 23, 21 के UPSC के previous year papers. Then try to see different passages and try to get the answer on your own. Then try to see कि what answer you are getting and match with the answer provided by the UPSC itself. Then see why there is a mismatch. Was I not able to get the message what was conveyed by the author? Or I did not get the idea what is there in the passage? And we need to, the most important thing, we need to stick to the information which is provided in the passage. Because what happens, why this idea come? Why we do not stick to the information given in the passage only? Because we read editorials, and in some editorials we get only one part, like positives. In another editorial we can get the negatives also. When we are making our notes, in that note on that particular topic, we write both the parts, positives, negatives, both the parts, and some way forward also, and some government steps also. So this completes the complete coverage for that topic. Because of this idea, we do not stick, because we have lots of information. We have lots of information. Like we are reading GS, we are devoting more time for GS, and the article is about environment. And we have read a lot about environment. So we are having more information, a lot of information about environment. And only one topic they are discussing of environment. In that passage, like 7-8 lines are there. What information they can provide in those 7-8 lines? And you have read like thousands of lines on environment. So you will be in that condition, ki I know a lot. But there we make mistakes. We need to stick to the information which are given in the passage only. Based on that passage only, we are going to mark our answer. And whenever we are looking for options, so we need to check for all the 4 options. And most of the time we see that all the 4 options are correct, or all the 4 options are not correct. Mostly will get this idea or this sense that these options are not correct. So if we get this idea that all the 4 options which I see it is not correct, so we'll try to see which is least wrong, which is least wrong. That can be our answer. All the correct, which is the most appropriate. So this way we can proceed for passages. So you can have your own approach. For RC, like what I say, every day you are preparing for RC. Your comprehension ability, you are developing it every day. You are reading any article, you are reading any notes, you are going to develop your this ability of comprehension. You are summarizing the article. You are getting this idea ki in this article what is being conveyed and what was the basic assumptions for this article, what can be the exception. So many things you get by reading one article, and day by day it is going to improve. So whenever you are going for, so you might, what you can do, you can have this idea in your mind. If you are reading an article, try to go through different subheads. Like what is this article about? What is the message this author is wanting to convey? What is the crux of this passage? The tone is positive or not? What are different assumptions which are made by the author? So this way, try to think of in different subsets, different subheads. Then only you will be able to comprehend that article in better way. And the same thing we need to do for this RC part. And RC may, if you're not solving some questions, you cannot get this idea ki how UPSC is marking one answer correct and why UPSC is marking all the three options incorrect. So UPSC is having its own understanding about the passages. So UPSC wale RC ke passages are different from other passages. So we need to see ki what kind of information they are providing and how we are reaching to the answer. So we need to align our thinking to the UPSC. So if we are marking another answer correct, UPSC is marking another answer, another option correct, that means we are not aligned with the UPSC's thinking. So that we can develop through practicing more and more passages which are like UPSC previous year passages. Correct? So this way we can go for comprehension. And the next part is maths part. So maths part में what we can see, कि what are the syllabus? What is the syllabus of this maths part? Quantitative aptitude. What is written in the syllabus? Like what we discussed, कि syllabus में we don't get much. But if we see the syllabus में it is written that basic numeracy, that too class 10 level, and next data interpretation, that too class 10 level. Correct? So this is what is written in the syllabus for quant part. But we have seen that UPSC has asked the questions which are difficult. If we just go through these class 10 level thing, we cannot solve some questions. If we go through the concepts, in some of the questions, like probability, permutation, combination, some questions are coming from like higher mathematics. 11th, 12th ka topics they're asking. Probability, permutation, combination. If we go for higher level, we can get that difficulty. We cannot solve that question with the help of this class 10 level understanding. But what is written in that, ki if you develop the skill set by reading these class 10 level books, you can solve those questions. And on the top of that, we can have this idea that we do not need to solve all the questions. So we can try to see which are the simpler questions. We can pick out, we can choose them. And the difficult questions we can simply skip. Then also we can reach that barrier that 66 marks, we can go ahead of it. So that can be our strategy. Like if maths part mein, many of the students, what they feel, कि maths parts mein, they are facing lots of difficulty. So maths part mein, if you are facing difficulty, first you need to decode yourself. कि first we need to have this idea what are different topics which are being asked by UPSC. Like what are different topics? If we list it one by one, we have number system, then we have like time and work, we have time, speed and distance, we have percentage, profit loss, discount, we have ratios, mixtures, we have simple interest, compound interest, then we have like averages, we have set theory also, we have permutation and combination, probability, we have like algebra, geometry, mensuration, we have data interpretation also, and one more topic is there, that is not topic but a kind of question, like data is sufficient or not. They are asking this way many questions, and this data sufficiency part is like they can ask this question related to number system also, time and work, time, speed, distance, for all the topics they can ask this. So basically these are the topic listing from where we can get questions. Then what else we can have, like miscellaneous part. Here what UPSC is doing, UPSC is clubbing two topics and they are asking questions. Like number system ko it is clubbing with percentage. So this way, or number system ko they are clubbing with permutation and combination. So this way we can get so many questions. So these are the basic topic listing we can have based on the previous year questions. Correct? So we know what are different topics. Then we need to have this idea ki which topic is important and for which we need to have more understanding. Like if we see last 5-7 years ka trend, what we can see, this number system is the most important topic. How many questions are asked? 10 to 20 questions. Out of 35 to 40 questions or 30 to 40 questions, we can see ki 50% questions are coming from this part only, number system. There are so many sub parts of it, number system, like number of zeros. We have 2-digit, 3-digit number, we have unit digit, correct? Largest number, smallest number, we have divisibility rules, we have LCM, HCF, we have listing of numbers, number of pages questions. This way, so many subtopics are there for this number system. And this is the most important topic which can provide us like 10, at least 10 questions as correct. If we go through the concepts, we can get at least 10 questions as correct. After then, we can have the most important topic as this. Percentage, profit loss discount, ratios mixtures, SICI. We can have like 5 to 8 questions from here. Earlier, if we see the papers before 2017-18 or 2019, if I say, most of the questions were coming from this part. Number system say they started picking up more questions like 17 onwards, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Like most of the questions are coming from number system. It's correct. After then, if we see this time and work, 1 or 2 question every year, this is the trend. Then time, speed and distance, 1 or 2 question. It can be 3 also sometimes. Then we have this averages and set theory. We can say ki 2 to 3 questions. Then we have this permutation, combination and probability. Probability say not every year they are asking questions. Like 2, 3, 4 years mein 1 question. But permutation combination say they started asking question, they started picking more question 20 onwards. And 23 mein what happened? Ki they asked 7 to 8 questions. So roughly we can say, roughly we can get around 5 questions. But what happened this year? No question was asked. No question was asked this year. And we hope if they are asking questions, that should not be like on very difficult level. Basic question, if it is asked, we can mark it correct. Like 5 to 7 questions are coming from permutation and combination. If we are able to do 2 or 3, that is also very good. Correct? And we need to identify which questions we can attempt. After then, we can see this algebra, geometry, mensuration. Like geometry, mensuration say, they're not asking any question. Algebra is everywhere where we are assuming x, y, like this way. So this is the topic for which like very simple question they are asking. And then this DI part, data interpretation. What do you think how many questions UPSC is asking? Earlier they were asking like one bar diagram is there, on the basis of that 3-4 questions are asked. But 2021 onwards, they're not asking any question. If they're asking just one question. And like last year, they didn't ask any question. So DI say if they ask, they can ask 1 or 2 questions. But we don't know. Like 25 mein they are going to ask again the same pattern, 3-4 questions. And basically this data interpretation part is the application of what? This percentage only. Percentage ka hi application is there in this. Then we have this data sufficiency part. So this data sufficiency part is distributed among these topics. So what is data sufficiency? Like they will provide some information. On the basis of those information, they will ask some questions. Ki can we get the answer of this question? One question they will ask based on the information given. And we need to provide the answer of the question in that way, ki data is sufficient or not. Like statement 1 only is able to provide us or is sufficient to provide us the answer. If yes, then that will be the correct answer. If the statement 2 is sufficient to provide the answer of the question, then that, if we are getting that with the help of statement 2's information, we are getting the answer, that means data is sufficient. That will be our answer. So this way, the questions are being framed. We'll check those questions also, what type of questions they are asking. So this is basically the topic listing and what is the trend. Which topic is important if we see the previous year questions ka trend. Correct. So if we know these things, what we need to do? We need to develop what can be the approach. Topic listing is there. The first thing we need to go for concept clarity. We need to have a very good concept. We need to know what are different conventional approach. To solve any question. Then we need to know, like, formulas are there. We do not rely more on different formulas. If some formulas are there, we need to know what is the logic behind it. Correct. So these are, like, we can start with this concept clarity. We need to know what are the conventional approaches to solve any question. Then we need to do the basic questions. Related to different concepts like number system, different subparts, basic questions we need to know how we can solve them. After then, we need to solve previous year questions related to those different subtopics. Correct. After then, we need to go for probable questions. So these probable questions we can have from test series or class notes or classes itself. If you have joined any classes, so you can get probable questions ki list, which in the classes is discussed. Other than that, what you can do, you can use Chat GPT. Chat GPT also can be helpful. Like, you just ask or type one question, ask to prepare for such type of more questions. So you can get different questions based on that similar type, and you can practice that. You can get answer also from that Chat GPT itself. Correct. That way also, that can be smart way to approach for this paper. Chat GPT. Like in GS also, students are taking help from Chat GPT. Correct. So these are the things which we can do. What not to do? Like, don't go after formulas only. Don't go after shortcuts. Shortcuts are important for like SSC and banking examination. Why it is important? Because there is less time and we need to solve more number of questions. Like in 60 minutes, you have to solve like 100 questions, 120 questions. So we do not have that much time there. So we need to remember so many shortcuts. But here in UPSC, you have 120 minutes. How many questions? 80. So you have ample of time. And you don't need to attempt all the questions. You need to attempt some questions only. Like out of 80, one is attempting like 60, 55. So 20, 25 questions are just skipped. That can be from maths part, that can be from LR reasoning part, that can be from RC part. So these many questions we are leaving in the paper. So what are those questions? We need to identify them. And what about this calculation speed? We don't need to work harder for this calculation speed. like if moderate speed is there, that is also fine. We don't need to remember all these tables and all, because that way questions are not being framed. If you see the questions, not much calculation is there in those questions. But SSC banking may, we need to be very fast on this calculation part. But here in UPSC CSAT paper, we don't need that speed. If moderate speed is there, that is fine. Correct. What else we should not do? We should not rely solely on one part. For maths specifically, like we are completing this number system only, just number system padh ke chale gaye. That is also not good. What if next year they're not asking, like they have asked just one question or two question? So that is also fatal for us. And the same approach for, like, we cannot go with just maths part. We cannot go with just RC part. We cannot go with just reasoning part. So these are the things we need to be aware of, ki this way we cannot approach. Prepare for the worst condition. And we don't need to panic in the examination hall. Because this is what happens. This is the second paper. This is the second paper, like paper 1 is completed. In between there is a gap. And after then, we have to attempt CSAT paper. So that May month, heat waves, no shadows, we don't have like, sorry. So that depends upon the center. Are we getting some places to stay where we can get water and everything, where we can have some good time so that we can relax there and can sleep for 1 hour? We don't have that time. In between, what we do, we just match our GS paper 1 keys. And after then what happens, we are attempting CSAT paper, and in that CSAT what is happening, one paragraph is there, RC ka question. In that paragraph, one information is given which was there in GS paper 1 also, and you have marked that as incorrect. So you will think, अरे यार what happened? ये तो गलत कर दिया, ये information तो इसमें दी हुई थी, ये पेपर पहले हो गया होता तो मेरा वो सही हो जाता. So many things can come to your mind. So what you can do, you can like attempt at least 8 to 10 mock test. 80 questions, full length. 8 to 10 mock tests are important. Then only you can have that exam-like conditions. If the paper is difficult, then also you don't need to panic. Why? Because if you are panicked, like simpler questions will also get incorrect. And this happens in the examination hall. This might be like, might have happened with you also. Correct? So what we need to do, we need to prepare well in advance. Like 7-8 months are there. Don't think of this way, ki in the final 2-3 months, I'm going to start my CSAT preparation. Right now, I'm going to devote more time for GS paper. This type of thinking is not good. And what happens, ki when the exam approaches, some of the students, they might think of this way, ki we can skip this year's paper because my CSAT is not prepared. And I started preparing CSAT in last 1 or 2 months, and I'm not getting the concepts very clear. And I am not able to get very good score. I'm not able to cross that barrier in the mock tests. So they will devote more time for CSAT, and that time we need to devote more time for GS. So if CSAT is like prepared well in advance, so you will be having at back of your mind ki yes, I'm confident, all the concepts are clear, just I need to go through that class notes and some previous year questions just to brush up. So you will feel more confident, you can devote more time for GS, and you will appear for that year, like this coming year 25 में you are going to appear. नहीं तो ऐसे दिमाग में आ सकता है कि ये बार तो नहीं हो पाया, नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं पहले से ही स्ट्रेटेजाइज करूंगा उसी तरीके से. तो ऐसा नहीं करना है, पहले से ये सब चीजें लेके चलनी है. और दूसरी जगह एंजॉय नहीं करना है, पढ़ाई में ही एंजॉय करना है, तो हो जाएंगी चीजें. सो व्हाट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड टिल नाउ कि what can be the approach for like reasoning, what can be the approach for comprehension, and what can be the approach for maths part. The basic thing is कि before the examination you need to have some notes for maths and LR, reasoning part. For these two parts we need to have a note. In that we need to write what are different concepts, what are the basic questions related to it, and what are the previous year question related to that concept. Then some more questions we can add when we are appearing for test series. तो कुछ mock test में some good questions are coming, you can club in your notes. So this notebook will be helpful for you before the examination. And try to write less number of formulas. Try to understand the basic concept. Correct? And don't go after the shortcuts. UPSC is framing questions such a way that जो भी shortcuts है उसका जो exception हो सकता है वहीं से पूछ देगी question. अब shortcut लगाओगे you will get wrong answer. So हमें ये concept clarity is very important. और कैलकुलेशन स्पीड पे नहीं जाना है बहुत, क्योंकि हमें बैंकिंग एसएससी का अगर एग्जाम देना है देन हम कर सकते हैं कैलकुलेशन स्पीड पे काम कर सकते हैं. अदरवाइज मॉडरेट स्पीड इज ओके. बेसिक कैलकुलेशन आनी चाहिए, अगर नहीं आ रही है तो उसको प्रैक्टिस करना है. यू नीड टू डिस्कस. ठीक है, अगर आपको लगता है एंड दिस इज द टाइम टू डिसाइड व्हाट आई कैन डू, आई कैन गो फॉर self preparation or I need to join some classes, or my peer group is enough for my preparation. This is the right time to decide. How you can decide it? For that, just take, I would say, this year ka paper only, 24, and try to attempt in 2 hours. And try to see how many questions you are attempting, from which parts, and what is your score. And try to assess कि where you are strong. That means you know that concept very well and you are able to get answer for other probable questions also. Where you are less strong, you need to know what is the concept behind it. Can I get this concept on my own, or I need some guidance for different parts like maths part, this RC part, or this reasoning part. Try to assess yourself. If not 24 का पेपर अगर आपने कुछ क्वेश्चंस पहले से ही बना लिए, what you can do, previous year's paper 22, 21, 20, and within the time limit you try to appear for this and see कि what is your assessment and be honest, क्योंकि ये तो क्लियर करना है ना हमें, तो हमें ऑनेस्ट होना पड़ेगा अपने आप से. देन डिसाइड कि what you can do, what decision you have to make. ठीक है, इस तरीके से डिसाइड कर सकते हो आफ्टर योर ओन असेसमेंट. और कोई भी डिसीजन लेने के लिए हमें क्या होना चाहिए, वी मस्ट बी वेल इन्फॉर्म्ड, तभी तो हम अच्छा डिसीजन ले पाएंगे. सो हाउ वी कैन बी वेल इन्फॉर्म्ड, जस्ट बाई आवर ओन असेसमेंट. तो वो असेसमेंट करना है, देन ट्राई टू सी कि क्या किया जा सकता है. करेक्ट. इफ वी सी द प्रीवियस ईयर्स पेपर, so past 5 years का trend if we see, what we can get here, like number system, so this way, like 11, 21, 9, 12, 22, then 24 में 20 questions. So this is the trend. The same for this percentage, simple and compound interest. If we club with ratio, mixture and allegation, we can get 5 to 7, 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 questions. The same way we can get for other topics also. That is what we have already discussed. Then if we go for, like, if we take the example of number system. So number system topic we want to prepare on our own. What we can do? We can try to see what are different subtopics. So we can see that one subtopic is classification of numbers. So we need to have a basic idea about classification of numbers. कि how we are classifying numbers, like even number है, odd number है, prime number है, composite number है, rational number है, irrational number है, whole number है, integers है, fraction है. So many subparts are there. We need to have a very good, very clear idea. If composite number it is there in the question, then what we can think of? We can think this way कि composite number का definition क्या होता है, from which number it starts, prime number, what is the definition of it, what is the concept behind it. If we know these things, we can be very clear कि question में जो भी पूछा जा रहा है, we can go forward. We can see कि other information को club करके can we get the answer. उसके लिए basics हमें पता होना चाहिए. So, like classification of numbers hai, so what we need to do? Basics. Then previous year questions that is related to classification of numbers. So these are like classification of numbers से questions कुछ पूछे हुए हैं. अब देखो ये simple question है, a simple mathematical operation in each number of the sequence. This results in a sequence with respect to prime numbers. So prime number is there. We need to know what are prime numbers. One prime number है कि नहीं है, two prime number है कि नहीं है. We need to know these things. Which one of the following is the next number in the sequence? अब ये जो sequence है इसमें हम will try to find out कि कौन सा prime number होगा. इसमें क्या बोला था कि results in a sequence with respect to prime number. अब 14 के पहले या बाद में prime number we are going to get. 13 is a prime number. Then 18 से पहले we can get a prime number 17. So this way we are having some idea. और इसके बारे में YouTube पे we have one session also कि how to solve them. तो वो भी आप चेक कर सकते हो कि कैसे ये solve कर सकते हैं. अब यहाँ पे भी देखो, n is a prime number. n leaves a remainder of 1 when divided by 4. We need to have the concept of remainders. रिमाइंडर का कॉन्सेप्ट होना चाहिए कि हाउ वी कैन गेट रिमाइंडर. बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट, बहुत ही बेसिक चीजें हैं. देन दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ लाइक डेटा सफिशिएंसी. डेटा इज सफिशिएंट और नॉट. टू इंफॉर्मेशंस, देन S1 alone is sufficient, S2 alone, then together are sufficient. So this way, if we are having the basic concepts, we can move forward and get the answer correct. Then the recurring decimal representation, इसके लिए भी we need to have the concept. ये concept हमें पता, अगर concept पता है बड़े आसानी से we can get the answer of these questions. Simple chote question, but tricky questions. Like for what value of n the sum of digits in the number 10 to the power n plus 1 is 2. So we need to know the sum of digits. 1 digit number, 2 digit number, 3 digit number. If they are asking sum of digits, if we write 35 is a number, 35 is a number. So what is sum of digits? So if I write 35 is a number, so sum of digits will be 3 plus 5, that is 8, correct? In this case, the number is this 10 to the power n plus 1. Ye hai, this is the number 10 to the power n plus 1. And what values n can take? The question is about this only, n. For what value of n? If n is equal to 0 only, so we need to see the options very clearly. This is like they're asking for n is equal to 0 only, not any other number. So first we'll try to put n is equal to 0. Let's try to get what we are getting here, like 10 to the power n plus 1, 10 to the power 0 plus 1. 10 to the power 0 is what? 1. Why we write 10 to the power 0? This is also a concept that we need to understand. If I write a number a to the power m, a to the power n, what we write? This is like a to the power m minus n. This way we write. So if I write this 10 to the power 0, 0 ko what we can write? 1 minus 1 we can write. 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. This way also we can get answer. See, so if 10 to the power 1 minus 1, we can write this 10 to the power 1 divided by 10 to the power 1 or not? This is equal to the same thing, a to the power m, a to the power n. So that will be equal to a to the power m minus n, where m is equal to n. So what we are getting? 10 to the power 0. Ab ye 10 to the power 0 kya hai? Basically the same number is getting divided by the same number. The value is 1. So this way we need to have the clarity of the basic concepts. कोई भी क्वेश्चन आएगा थोड़े से कॉन्फिडेंट रहेंगे, अदरवाइज वी कैन क्वेश्चन आवरसेल्फ कि वी नो दिस, वी रिमेंबर दिस 10 to the power 0 1 होता है, बट कुछ और क्वेश्चन पूछ दिया, वी कैन थिंक कि यार इसके आगे तो नहीं आता है. बट ये तो बड़ी बेसिक सी चीज हो गई, इसमें तो और कुछ पूछने वाला भी नहीं है, जस्ट अ बेसिक आइडिया कि ऐसा हो सकता है. Here it is written for any whole number n. So we need to have this idea कि what is whole number? Whole number starts from 0. If we have the basic concept of classification of numbers, we can get this idea कि whole number starts from 0. Natural number starts from 1. तो यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा? इसमें 0 is also included. Then we can check for this one कि what value we are getting of this number 10 to the power n की value 1 plus 1. What we are getting? 11. This is the number. What is the sum of digits? 1 plus 1. That is 2. Sum of digits पूछ रहा है, 2 आना चाहिए. That means this can be the answer. So we need to check for, like, to make ourselves sure कि यार यही आंसर है क्या, we'll check for 2 also. देखेंगे कि are we getting a trend? Like ये क्या मिल रहा है? 100 plus 1, 10 to the power 2 plus 1, ये कितना है? 101. Sum of digits again 2. That means अगर 3 पुट करेंगे तो 1001, 4 पुट करेंगे तो 10,001, but every time we'll get sum of digits as 2. That means this is our answer. Then how we can negate this? Like option C, for any positive integer n only. अब इसमें भी कंफ्यूज होंगे. पॉजिटिव इंटीजर, दैट मीन्स पॉजिटिव इंटीजर के बारे में पता होना चाहिए कि it starts from 1, it does not include 0, तो ये गलत हो गया ऐसे ही। अब ये क्या है, रियल नंबर। अब रियल नंबर तो सबसेट है सब कुछ का, फ्रैक्शन में आ जाएंगी वैल्यूज, आ सकती है। सो वी आर हैविंग द बेस्ट ऑप्शन हैज बी। तो हमें बेसिक क्लैरिटी अगर है तो कुछ क्वेश्चन ऐसे घुमा के भी इफ दे आर आस्किंग वी कैन गेट आंसर। अब इसी साल दे कैन आस्क क्वेश्चन दिस वे कि सम कहाँ पे कुछ 1 आ रहा है, सम वेरिएशन हो सकता है, दैट कैन बी द प्रोबेबल क्वेश्चन। इफ वी नो द कॉन्सेप्ट वी कैन रीच टू द आंसर, पहुंच सकते हैं आंसर पर, ठीक है। तो ये हमें क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए। इफ वी गो फर्दर, वी कैन सी लाइक सम इवन नंबर्स, ऑड नंबर्स, इन सब का भी कॉन्सेप्ट होना चाहिए। देखो फिर डिविजिबिलिटी रूल, divisibility rule we need to understand, we need to have this concept clarity कि what are different divisibility rules। अब ये जो divisibility rules बने हैं because of different observations, कि divisibility rule of जो 2 है for which why we are looking for only last digit, if last digit is divisible by 2 the number is also divisible by 2। so this is coming from an observation, not one observation, lots of observation देखी हमने, उसमें we got this idea if any number is divisible by 2 or not, how we can get that, just by checking the last digit, last digit check करके ही we can get the answer of the question, ये 2 से divisible है कि नहीं है ना। तो ये idea भी हमें मिल रहा है। then we have like 3 का divisibility rule, sum of digits divisible by 3 होना चाहिए। so that idea is coming from so many observations, उन observations के basis पे this is like a formula, this is like a rule which we can follow for all the numbers। तो ये सब हमें पता होना चाहिए। then we have like digit, a digit n greater than 3 is divisible by 3 but not divisible by 6। so we need to understand, we need to read the question very carefully, they are writing here a digit n, how many digits are there, so digits are like 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, only 10 digits are there। with the help of these 10 digits we can make any number, we can make any number, कोई भी नंबर लिखोगे उसमें ये डिजिट्स तो होंगी होंगी, तो सॉरी, तो बेसिस तो वही है। अब वी नो कि डिजिट्स आर 10, पूछ रहा है डिजिट n ग्रेटर देन 3, दैट मींस n की पॉसिबिलिटी क्या हो सकती है, इट कैन बी 4, इट कैन बी 5 6 7 8 9, 6 पॉसिबिलिटी। अगर 6 पॉसिबिलिटी है हमारी, like 4 5 6 7 8 9, अब बोल रहा है divisible by 3 but not divisible by 6। so first information is कि it must be divisible by 3। so how many digits are divisible by 3, 6 and 9। now we are getting only 2 numbers। then next information is कि that digit n is not divisible by 6, that means we are getting just one digit, that is 9, that means n is equal to what, 9। simply we are getting the desired information which can be helpful for getting the answer। then it is asking which one of the following is divisible by 4, option में we can see 2n 3n 2n plus 4 3n plus 1, we know what is n की वैल्यू 9, 9 पुट करेंगे we can see कि which number is, which one is divisible by 4, मिल जाएगा आंसर बड़े आसानी से। तो ये बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स पे क्लैरिटी हमें चाहिए, और ऐसा भी नहीं है कि दीज आर वेरी डिफिकल्ट कॉन्सेप्ट, वेरी सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट, बट स्कूल में भी अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ाई हुई होगी इसकी, या फिर होगी तो स्कूल में व्हाट हैपेंस कि वे जस्ट गो फॉर कि यार इस टाइप का क्वेश्चन आता है रट लो, और इफ यू हैव रेड इट वेरी वेल इन द स्कूल ऑल्सो then what happens ki it's like lots of time gone, like it's 10 years, 8 years, अब याद थोड़ी ना रहेंगी इतनी पुरानी बातें. So we need to read them again, we need to understand them again. फिर से बेसिक से पढ़ना शुरू करना पड़ता है, और करना पड़ेगा हमें क्योंकि निकालना है हमें. So this way so many questions we can see कि अगर बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट है तो हम निकाल सकते हैं आंसर. And the second most important thing in this paper, CSAT, is what? The art of skipping the questions, the art of leaving questions. This is very important in CSAT paper. Why? Because like maths में 40 questions are there. 5 to 8 questions are very difficult. They are given in the paper just to skip that question. Like if you see this question, it is like a paragraph. We know what are all divisibility rules. Then also, if we read this paragraph, it will take like 1 minute. Because first time we are going to read, then second time we are going to read, then we'll get this idea, okay, this is related to divisibility rule. Then we'll start putting the first information, we are getting some information, then second information, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and after then we'll get this idea that we are stuck. We are not getting the answer. And in the meantime, we have lost our 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. And like if we have thought of this way, this question, like one paragraph, this can be a simple question. But I'm not going to attempt this in the first go. I know what is divisibility rule, but in the first attempt, I'm not going to attempt it. Because even if I know, it can kill my 2-3 minutes, or even 4 minutes, or even 8 minutes. So within 30 seconds, if we are getting this idea, this feel कि this question में time लग सकता है, just skip that question. And the question is like permutation combination से question है, probability से question है. First go में just skip it. Second go में, if time permits, then we can come again and can solve this. If time permits. But first go में हमें क्या assure करना है that we are going to clear this. कि हमें first 1.5 hours में we need to have this idea कि I have cleared the cutoff. अब आराम से ऐसे questions करने हैं जिसमें we are 100% sure. I mean, this can vary case to case कि किसी को half an hour मिल रहा है second go के लिए, किसी को 20 minutes मिल रहा है second iteration के लिए, किसी को 15 minutes मिल रहा है, किसी को 45 minutes मिल रहा है, that depends. So this way we can see कि different segregation is there, and this way you need to make your notes. So like classification of numbers, concept basic questions, then these questions. If 5 years के question है, you can go for like 7 years, 8 years के questions. You can add them in your notes. जिसको धीरे धीरे करते रहो समझ के, then test भी attempt करो, you will get a very good confidence कि मैंने कर लिया है, कुछ छोड़ा नहीं है मैंने. I haven't skipped anything. Correct? The same way, like if we see averages, questions are there. Averages का just one formula is there. Sum of observations divided by total number of observation. Just one formula. But there are different variations. We can see different properties also. है ना? Arithmetic progression is there. Arithmetic mean is there. Geometric mean is there. We need to know how we are going to calculate them. What are the applications of these means? We need to understand the basics only. See this? Here also we can see statement-based questions. Then they are clubbing like averages and number system. So this way we can get several questions. These are like answer keys. So this way we need to make different segregations, different sections, basic concepts and previous year questions. ऐसे करके हमें आगे बढ़ना है प्रिपरेशन के लिए, और अभी से we can start. It is the right time to start with CSAT. I would say कि do not go for like on daily basis. If you are not getting time, what you can do weekly basis पे one day तो जरूर CSAT के लिए रखना है, कि एक टॉपिक पकड़ो बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स एंड ट्राई टू सी लास्ट 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ईयर्स के प्रीवियस ईयर के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करो. एंड इफ यू आर हैविंग अ वेरी गुड पीयर ग्रुप, यू कैन डिस्कस देम एंड यू कैन मेक अ टाइम टेबल लाइक दैट. और इफ यू फील कि you have attempted previous year paper and you have your assessment this way, I need to have more clarity on the concepts, so you can join classes. So that is your decision. जो इच्छा करे, जैसा लगे, अपना असेसमेंट करके कर सकते हैं आगे. तो 2-3 चीजें हैं, इस तरीके से you can move forward. And what can be the overall strategy for it? Like CSAT paper is there in front of you. You have 2 hours. So what do you think, what can be the best strategy to attempt that paper? You might have appeared for some mock tests. सबकी अपनी अलग अलग स्ट्रैटेजी होनी चाहिए, है ना, वो टेलर्ड स्ट्रैटेजी होनी चाहिए. If you feel कि you are very good at RC, if you feel that you are very good at maths and reasoning, what you can do, first 1 hour or first 45 minutes you can devote for maths and reasoning part, and try to see how many questions you have attempted, like 25, 30, 20, how many questions you have attempted. Because maths and reasoning में what happens, the accuracy is more, like 90%, 95%, you know कि this answer is correct or not. 2-3 क्वेश्चन के आंसर्स में ऊपर नीचे होता है, but mostly we know कि we have done it correctly. After then you can devote next 45 minutes to 50 minutes for RC part. अब RC ऐसा है कि 10-15 questions तो ये कर ही सकते हो अटेम्प्ट, और इसमें मार्क्स भी लाइक 25 मार्क्स, 30 मार्क्स, 35, 40, 45, दिस वे यू कैन स्कोर इन RC. तो मैथ्स एंड रीजनिंग में यू हैव स्कोर्ड लाइक 45, 25 यहाँ से स्कोर कर लिया, लाइक दिस वे. दिस इज नॉट द एग्जैक्ट नंबर्स, दिस विल चेंज विथ एवरी स्टूडेंट, कि मैथ्स और यहाँ से मैथ्स एंड रीजनिंग से यू आर गेटिंग लाइक 60 मार्क्स, है ना, मैथ्स एंड रीजनिंग से यू आर गेटिंग लाइक 40 मार्क्स, 30 मार्क्स, तो RC में ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. सो ये हो सकता है, तो अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी बनाना है उस हिसाब से कि नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कितने होने चाहिए. नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस बहुत ज़्यादा पहले से प्री डिटरमाइंड नहीं हो सकता, दैट वी आर गोइंग टू अटेम्प्ट 55 क्वेश्चंस और 60 क्वेश्चंस, ये प्री डिटरमाइंड होके नहीं जा सकते. लाइक इन GS ऑल्सो, if the paper is difficult, we cannot attempt more questions. वो negatives में लेके जाएगा. अगर मैथ्स बहुत difficult है, अब 15 से ज़्यादा ऊपर जा ही नहीं रहा है, तो उससे ज़्यादा attempt करने का मतलब कि incorrect होगा आंसर, there are higher chances, तो नहीं करना है. तो RC attempt करना है थोड़ा ज़्यादा, उसमें if we devote more time, we can have this possibility कि we can get more correct answers. तो इस तरीके से सारा परमुटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन इसमें हमें चेक करना है ड्यूरिंग टेस्ट्स. सारे परमुटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन कि RC से स्टार्ट करके देखो, मैथ से स्टार्ट करके देखो, रीजनिंग से स्टार्ट करके देखो, सारे परमुटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन 2-3 टेस्ट में शुरू में लगा के देखो, फिर एक अप्रोच बनेगी आपकी, उसी को फॉलो करना शुरू करो. ठीक. सो दिस वे वी कैन से कि दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द CSAT स्ट्रैटेजी एंड अप्रोच. इस तरीके से अभी से प्लान करना शुरू करो, और सबसे पहला काम, द फर्स्ट थिंग व्हाट यू कैन डू इज असेस योरसेल्फ बाय अटेम्प्टिंग 1 प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर. ठीक है, विद दिस वी कैन से कि चलो हो गया डिस्कशन, यहीं पे वी आर कंक्लूडिंग दिस सेशन. सो थैंक यू एवरीवन.